Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Zero number 566A. This is a bump-up style threshold is what it is. They'll call it a rabbited threshold. Use your imagination, or don't, or just look at it, I suppose. It's a rabbited style threshold, sometimes called a bump-up, sometimes referred to as a latch track, but I wouldn't call this one a latch track threshold. We'll go over that in a moment. Rabbited threshold would be the most proper term to call it. But a bump-up style. A lot of clients will know that as a bump-up style. Very effectively used on interior doors, obviously, exterior doors. Generally, you'd have this as the exterior portion where you'll have a little bit of runoff ability here. Okay. If it's used for an exterior outswinging application, obviously your door is going to reside in here. Probably not most ideal for an exterior application because you don't really have an area where a door sweep, if one was added to this installation, would seal against a belt and suspender sort of approach, which I would want if this swung out, because I don't want my line of defense to be on the interior side of the opening all the way here. By then the weather has gotten all the way down here before it's stopped. So I'd want something stopping it out here first. So I really think an in-swing application would be best for this rabbited threshold. The 566A, the 566 is representative of this profile, and the A means mill aluminum finish. You can also order this from Zero as a B type threshold, and B is going to stand for architectural bronze. Solid brass, a lot of people will know that. There's an image down below this video showing the important dimensional properties of this threshold. And as you can see from that, it's 5-inch wide, which is very typical and common. It's going to have an overall height of 1/2 inch, which may be a bit atypical for lots of standard hollow metal door and frame installations, in the sense that you're going to have a 3/4 inch undercut generally. So this I wouldn't be thinking would be typical for hollow metal frame, in typical hollow metal frame installation, so keep that in mind. And then you've got just a 1/8 inch lip or reveal down here. Okay. The rest of the drawing will show you the 1 3/4 dimension out over here. It's actually a little bit larger than that because the dimension line is being drawn to where the door would actually make contact with the seal area. The balance is, of course, the balance of that, and it's going to be roughly forgive me, roughly 3 1/4 inch is what it's roughly going to be. Available in the site in lots of different lengths. So this happens to be a 3-foot piece. If you have need for a longer length, by all means let us know by ordering the next longest piece or pieces and simply indicate in the comment field what length you'd like for us to ship the material out at. We'll be happy to oblige. The reasoning is if you had to take this 3-foot piece and cut it down to, say, 32 inch, you'd eliminate that first countersunk hole that's there. Then the next one's all the way over here, as you can see, forcing you to not only cut it, but re-drill a hole. Then your holes won't be centered properly. And drilling a hole is usually not the problem. The problem sometimes is countersinking it. And speaking of that countersink, screws are included. Look like probably number 10 by 1.5 inch flathead self-tapping sheet metal screw with a Phillips drive. You need that screw to be flush or with the threshold itself, so the underside of the head mates properly with the countersink that's been done in the threshold itself. So if you have need for a custom length, order the next longest piece, indicate in the comment field what you want it cut back to. Now, it's listed in the site in sizes from 2 foot to about 8 foot, not about, to 8 foot, generally in about 2 inch, 4 inch, or maybe 6 inch increments. You can have longer than 8 foot, and we'll happily supply that to you. We just don't list it because the cost to ship that material is generally prohibitive. But if you need 10 foot, 12 foot, probably even up to 14 foot, 6 inch lengths, that can be accommodated. Just reach out to us and we'll quote the freight for you. There's a link below this video to a document called Product Brochure that will allow you to look at the 566A and the immediate sister products to it in terms of bump-up style thresholds. You'll see the rabbited thresholds that are immediately related to the 566. The bump-up latch track I mentioned earlier is really going to be that 560A near the bottom of the of that first page that's there. That will give you the ability to have an outswing application where you've got some reveal of the threshold, pulling the water down away. The bump up or rabbited style, I think it's better to call the flat ones more rabbited, but the latch track idea, the profile immediately behind the insert, which would be in this area here of the 560. Imagine if you had a pair of doors on the back wall of a big box store, 3 pair of doors on this 100,000 square foot building, emergency exit only, you've got surface vertical rods. You can use that profile of the threshold to act as the bottom strike for the latches of those surface vertical rods, which would make that a way to seal the door, have a threshold under the door, and secure the exit devices to the threshold profile itself. Not that you couldn't mount surface strikes right to this, but it defeats the purpose. Okay, so that 560, in my experience, would be if someone has typical hollow metal doors and frames, 3/4 inch undercut, and they say, I need a bump up threshold, that's your go-to all the time. Okay. Page 2, we'll get into some specialty thermal brake style bump up thresholds. Thermal brakes are exquisite at retarding the transmission of energy from one side of the opening to the other, meaning if it's 12 degrees below zero outside and you've got a rigid plastic thermal brake between the continuous aluminum, on the inside it's going to be relatively close to room temperature for sure, is why people would consider a threshold like that. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Zero products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. If you have any questions on the Zero, their part number 560A, pardon me, this is their 566A, rabbited style threshold, or any other Zero product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.